All take our seats. All right, so today's going to be our last day working on this project of our career portfolio, with just a few exceptions. But as you can see, it's a pretty lengthy assignment, and as far as I'm concerned, this is the most important assignment of our class, because no matter what you go on to do, having these skills and experience and capability is going to make you more successful and be the difference between you potentially getting a job or not getting the job, at least a job that you want or a good job. So being able to walk into a job interview, present yourself professionally, and have these tools are critical. You look through the paper, if you've ever applied for any decent job, they're going to expect you to have a resume, cover letter, some samples of your work, all this kinds of stuff. And so most people realize, holy cow, I got to go get a job. They start calling people up, and they realize there's hours and hours of worth of work that they need to do first before they can even begin looking for a job. If you do that work now, you will be thankful. So please follow along. Stay focused. Put in your best work on this. As I said, this is like running a race, but only first place is the one that gets the job. So you really want to run as fast as you can, put in the most effort you can. Yeah, Juan Pablo's not here today, so he'll be missed, huh? So we are going to do all of our work in Microsoft Word, which if you prefer to use, say, Google Docs or something, that's fine as well. So whatever word processing application you're most comfortable with, I'm fine with, as long as you meet the requirements of this assignment. Many of you maybe have taken graphic design in the past, and maybe you've done some of these assignments in Illustrator. That's fine as long as you can continue to edit them in Illustrator. I don't know if you have Illustrator on your computers or not, but if you don't, then go ahead and do this stuff in Word. So just a little quick power lesson here on how to access Word. So I've gone to my Start button down here, going to All Programs. Word's typically grouped in with this Microsoft Office folder here, and then
do we have them on the computer to borrow?
Illustrator? Word? Yeah, you should have Word on your computers. Does anybody not have Microsoft Word on their computers? Okay, everybody got Word open?
Yeah.
Awesome. So the first page is going to be our title and cover page. And so that needs to have a few bits of information on here. So the first one is going to be your name. So we'll put in your name. Obviously, don't type your name. You type in your name, the name you were given in at birth. Yeah, we're going to want to format this so it's a little bit nicer. So first, I usually like to just get the information on the page, and we can go through and format it so it looks more like a proper cover page should. So this is ROP, compute, if I can type here. ROP, computer-aided design. So CAD actually has meant a few different things over the years, so if you've had a debate about that. Technically, when it first came out, it was computer-assisted drafting, because that's all they thought they could do with it at the time. Then it became more computer-aided drafting, and then eventually people actually started designing stuff on it. So CAD can actually mean a few things, but computer-aided design is probably the most accurate description of how it's being used nowadays. And instructor name, that's me. And I'll make this bigger here in a second. Location, we are Pajaro Valley High School. And this is, what are we, fourth period? And today's date, 2015. So I've got this on my page. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see my entire page, which I realize you can't see anything on the screen here. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to center it. And then there's these buttons here that make your font larger or smaller. So I'm going to make this a little bit larger so you can see it's expanding on my page. It's too large. What else we got here? So I'm going to take this first line, which just says your name, and under styles here, I'm going to select, maybe I won't do that. Yeah, you guys can get a little creative here if you want. So I'm selecting lines of text, and then in this text effects section here, you can kind of pick different text, but let's not get too crazy. I don't want your page to be cluttered. Woo! It's pretty exciting, huh? And then this stuff down here, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Maybe bring it together. And,
Mr. Brenner?
Yep.
I remember in middle school, if you can do this by yourself, you will wear a badass.
Yeah?
You know,
Pero ese pendejo nunca podía así.
no, I couldn't. I did it Google Help me. Yeah, that's actually funny.
How do you make the fourth one out?
So here's kind of what I want for a nice cover page. The top part of your cover page, see how I kind of have a lot of space here? I kind of like that. Your name is going to be well displayed here. The class underneath that. And then all the information can be much smaller because this isn't as important. Towards my thing. It's not recognizing that as a word in the English dictionary. Same with Pajaro. Again, not in the English dictionary. So I want it to be neat, clean. I have plenty of space here. I would like to have, there we go. So, names, nice and prominent, class, well written underneath that, and then this information at the bottom. So I want it to be neat and clean, not cluttered, organized, just like that. Anybody having any difficulties with this at all?
How big do you want our name?
I want it big enough to where it's not too big, like ridiculously large, but also easy to receive. I want it to be the most prominent thing on the page. If you've got a really long name, you could put your first name and then do a carriage return or return, and then your name underneath it.
72?
So I used, what did I use here? 72 is what I used, but you can resize it based on your name at all.
Was that you, my boy?
Okay, so now we want to go on to our second page. By the way, if any of you, again, this is a competition, so if any of you are serious about winning, maybe you take one of your renders or something that you did in the past and maybe put that on your front page. That could be kind of cool. Just kind of spice it up. It's not me that's making these. It's a whole panel of judges that are going to look at all these and decide which one they think's the best. So they're looking for professionalism. They're looking for displays of your talent and that you are competent in your work. Okay, so now we're at the end of this page, and we want to go on to the next page. There's two ways you can do that. You can just keep hitting enter till you go on to the next page, or the much better way of doing that is you go to insert here, and I'm going to click on page break. Everybody see that? So I'm at the end of my date, which is my last line. I'm going to do page break. And that brings me to my second page over here.
I go to file.
You hit insert, page break.
Page break.
Yep. And I think my margins are a little big here. Let's see what these margins are set to. Instead of these normal margins, I'm going to go with moderate here. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so we're on our next page here. I'll zoom in again so you guys can see what we're doing here. The margin is the space that it puts before your text begins. So obviously it doesn't begin the text right at the edge of the page. Printer can't even print there anyway, so we're going in a little bit. And so these margins are, the default was 1 inch, I think I did 0.75. So we're done with our title page. The next thing is our table of contents. So here we're going to click on heading, because we're going to be drawing a heading here. And I'm going to put table of contents. And then I'll go back to normal. And then I'm just going to leave this blank for the moment. We'll go back to this. But I'm going to hit insert, and I'm going to hit another page break, bring me to another page. And then we're going to create a new heading. And this is going to be our job application. And here's where you're going to insert your either written or typed job application by hand. So obviously we're going to print up these. No, we won't scan them. Just when it's all, you're going to turn in your hard copy, and then we're just going to hole punch that and put them in our binders with everything else. And then our next page is going to be references. And so, so here's how a reference is going to work. You're going to put somebody that you know. And here's the thing about references. Like we talked about before on the job application, we preferably want somebody that we've worked with, somebody that knows us for a while, and is obviously going to say good things about you.
Is there like a restriction to who your reference?
Can we do our teacher?
What do you mean by a restriction?
Can it not be like a family member or something like that?
Usually, we want to try, and I mean, if it's like an uncle that you worked for or something, then that would probably work out better. If it's just, living, here's my mother. I mean, of course your mom's going to say nice things about you. She thinks the world of you. No matter how horrible, no matter how horrible you are, your mom's always going to love you and say nice things about you. So, you don't want to use your mother or father as a reference unless, say, I've been working with my father for 5 years at his business and I've been doing something important. I've been, running, he's got farm equipment or whatever, and I've been, running his forklift or tractor or whatever, and I've got, 2,000 hours of forklift time, something like that. Yeah, then I'm going to want to use my dad because he's going to be able to talk, intelligently like, oh yeah, I've been forklift certified. I haven't had an accident on the forklift. Safety conscious, stuff like that. We'll fix all kind of little formatting stuff later. So here's what we want for your references. First, you'll list the person's name. So whoever it is. Then you're going to put their address, and if you don't know their exact street address, then you can just put the city that they're in. So I'm saying that this person actually lives at this address. And then so you know in Word, there's two types of returns. You'll notice when I hit return, just without any modification, it's going to put kind of a larger space in between these two lines. So if you go through and hold down your Shift button and hit Enter, then it does what they call a soft return, which is just going to bring you right underneath the line there. 060 Santa Cruz zip code there. So just like you're formatting a envelope, you're going to put the person's name. If you want, maybe put that in bold or something so it looks a little bit more impressive here. Since this is the only thing that's going to be on this page, I'm going to make them a little larger. So I'm putting the street number, and then if you're doing an envelope, obviously you'd put the abbreviation of the street, so I don't spell out street. I put just ST period. If it's drive, I put DR period. But formally, sometimes on resumes and business documentation, letterhead, sometimes people actually spell it out. So you could either go the abbreviation or spell out the whole thing. This is kind of a little bit more of a formal way. People think sometimes it looks a little bit better. So either way is fine. And then I will put like the phone number. So you can put phone. If it's a cell phone, you could put cell phone or something just so they know that they're calling the person's cell phone number.
Are you recording this?
I am recording this.
All right.
The standard way of formatting is you put an open parentheses, area code, space, the first 3 digits, hyphen, and then the last 4 digits. So standard phone format. Email's becoming more and more popular, so so you can put somebody's email address as well. Nowadays, people are getting harder and harder to get a hold of with phones. But email tends to be a really good way for people to email back and forth. So you might want to include their email address. And then you want to put their relationship. So I'm going to say this person was the...
Ex-friend.
You could say owner and then say what it was. So I'll say,
She was.
Doe's.
Why did you put those?
That's just what I'm saying that's the name of his business here. Doe's Strawberries. That's just his last name.
No, hey.
Put Salinas.
Selena Gomez.
So you could also put, say, you could put it under his name. Is also another acceptable way of doing this. So the guy's name's John Doe. This is my reference. He's the owner of Doe's Strawberries. This is the address, phone number, email address.
They actually exist.
So that's all I'm pretty much looking for. So people that are often used as references are teachers, coaches. You could use your school counselor if you got a good relationship with them. Any current or previous employer, and then family, friends make good references. So not necessarily somebody that you are related to, but all of us have people that have known us, our whole lives. They or even just in the last 5-6 years. Family, friends, maybe people you get together with for holidays, Thanksgiving, whatever. So anybody that's known you for a while and just can say, oh, he's really becoming a remarkable young person, and can talk about all the good things that they've seen you do, and your professional, polite, courteous, everything else. People that you want to stay away from as references is anybody under the age of 18, just personal friends of yours, people you're directly related to, or of course anyone that doesn't have anything good to say about you. So. Okay, and then you need a minimum of 3 of these. And make sure that you have called these people or gotten in contact with them and asked their permission to use them as a reference.
What if you call them, they say yeah, and then when you're calling them, you're like, oh no.
Well, hopefully, when you ask them to become a reference, you can also say, hey, if somebody, you can say, hey, I'm currently applying for this job. I work at Little Caesars. I'm applying for this job at Papa Murphy's. Can I use you as a reference? And they say, oh yeah, of course. It's okay. If they call you, can you just talk about how we did this work together? Give them some kind of story to say about you. So, remember that time you and I worked to help you move? I showed up. I worked hard. I didn't break anything. All right. So, again, fill out a minimum of 3 references on your own. We're done with this, so I'm going to insert another page break. After references, our next heading is going to be, let's see. Actually, we need to go back a little bit here. All right, so we should have our table of contents. Then our next page after that will be our letter of introduction. So I'm going to put another heading here. Letter of introduction. For those of you that have never written a letter before, please pay extra close attention. Writing a letter is similar to sending an email, except that this is a formal letter, and so you want to prove that you have the professional experience and capability to do that. So we're going to start off by punching in your name again. So name, and then I'm going to do a soft return. So remember that shift enter here. You're going to put your street. So, and then another soft return. Okay, so you got your name, address, and city, state, and zip. Then I'll put, say, cell phone, parentheses, with your phone number, and then your email. So I'll go email, type here. So here's letter of introduction. And then who knows what comes after you've put in your information.
Where you want to send it
Normally you would, but we aren't actually going to be mailing this. So we're just going to put the date after this. So I'm putting April 2nd, 2015. And if this is for a job and you know the person that you're going to be, that's going to be meeting with you, they'll be interviewing with, then you'll probably want to put their name specifically. Typically, in an interviewing situation, you certainly want to build that relationship with the person directly. But if this is totally cold, meaning you just saw a sign out in front of the window, it said, you know, we're now hiring, and you have no idea who you're going to talk to, so you're just going to walk in and try and talk to somebody, but you still want to have a cover letter, we're just going to put to whom it may concern. And being that this is a less personal letter, we're just putting a colon.
No.
So now we want to think about what's the job that we are applying for and how we're going to sell ourselves on that. So I usually like to start by saying a little bit about something about yourself. So I could say, how about
Is that you? Architect?
So here was just kind of a sample letter of what I wrote. Obviously, you're going to tailor this to you, your skills, and the job that you want. So again, we've got name, address. This is all your information, how they can contact you, your email address, today's date. If you know the person you want to meet with, you'll have that there, and it'll be, you know, dear Mr. So-and-so, dear Mrs. So-and-so. So I put, I'm currently a senior at Pajaro Valley High School and looking to build my career as an architect. I have completed my first year in ROP's computer design class and have earned college credit for my work. I would like to meet with you to discuss how I can contribute to your architectural firm over the summer. So you notice how I pointed out, you know, I want to talk to you and talk about the things that I can do for you for the summer. So I'm talking about what I can contribute, not what I want. So I'm not saying, hey, I'd like to have a job at your company, or, I want to make some money over the summer, or I want to get some job experience. I'm talking about what I can contribute to them to help. It's a reasonable request. Hey, this student thinks that they can come help out around here. What's 10, 15 minutes of my time to meet with them and see what they can do. Yep, this is our letter of introduction. So then I say, enclosed you will find a resume and some samples of my work. Please contact me at your earliest convenience to schedule a time to meet. Sincerely, and then you'll sign your name and then write. So you'll type this up, and then when you print this, you'll be sure to sign your name in between the sincerely and your name section there. Okay, so that's our letter of introduction. This is after that will come the resume. So I'm going to put the resume right here. And I'm going to insert a page break here. All right. Okay, so again, you can type up your cover letter on your own time. All right, resume. We'll skip that. I don't know if we'll have time for that today. Job application, 3 references to avoid. All right, so then we need one letter of recommendation. So again, this is something students tend to have the most difficulty with, only because it requires them having somebody else do the work. So usually what I'll do for letter recommendation is I will first ask somebody, hey, would you mind writing me a letter of recommendation? So again, the same people that agreed to be your references also would be excellent candidates for letters of recommendation.
Can you be one?
What's that?
Can you be one?
I would absolutely be happy to be one for you, but it's an ROP rule that it can't be your current ROP instructor who uses you as a reference. So in the real world, once you've moved on, next year or whatever, if you're applying for a job and you need a recommendation or a letter of recommendation or a reference, I'm happy to do that for you. It just can't be done with this assignment. So same thing, counselor, coaches, your Boy Scout, your Boy Scout leader, any kind of, anyone that has known you and worked with you who's not a direct family member would make an excellent letter of recommendation for you. Now, people are busy, especially the people that you really want to, say you did something really nice for the school and you are hoping to get the principal to give you a letter of recommendation. Obviously, she's very busy, so I'll first ask her, hey, would you mind, writing a letter of recommendation for me? And she says, sure. Then I'll say, oh, thank you so much. Attached is a kind of template that you could use as a sample or foundation or something. So what I'll do is I'll type up something. So say I worked on some program on campus where we cleaned the school, we picked up trash around the school, something like that. So I'll write a letter of recommendation, to whom it may concern. I have known George for 3 years while he attended my school at Pajaro Valley High. I was particularly impressed with a program that he put together where he got volunteers from across campus to all work to beautify the campus by picking up trash during their lunch breaks. It made a dramatic contribution to the community and the school, and they're proud, go Wildcats or whatever our mascot is here. So, what do we hear? Grizzlies. Oh, sorry. Go Grizzlies. See how many sporting events I've been to. And I'll give it to her in a Word format or something that she can easily modify, so she can change it to be in her own words, but she'll really appreciate the fact that you've spent the effort to give her a shell, and that's also going to dramatically increase the amount of time, increase the odds of you getting the letter done quickly and easily. Also, when you write somebody a letter, you want to leave a lot of space on the top, because what you want them to do is take their letterhead. So she's going to take the school letterhead, put that in her printer, and print on it. So that's important. Everybody catch that?
Yeah.
You got all that? Why do you want to leave space on the top?
For the school.
School letterhead. There we go. All right, so if you ever seen a letter from the school, it's going to have, Powder Valley High School on the top. It's going to have your logo of a grizzly, and that's pre-printed in color. So when somebody goes to write a letter, they just take their letterhead, which is usually nicer paper, put that in the printer, print your letter. But if you have stuff on the top, it's going to write over the logo and the logo of the bear.
Aptos logo?
We're the Mariners.
Like a mermaid or something?
No, it's not a mermaid. Mariner's like a sailor. So our logo's an anchor. All right. So we're gonna have our.
Petition, put it in order, miss?
Yeah. Sorry, this is kind of confusing, but I'll show you in a moment how it all comes together. So I'm gonna go back to my home here. I'm gonna do another heading, and this is gonna be letter of recommendation. And I will insert another page break. And this time, this is going to be work. All right, we'll go samples of work. That's a good way to put it. Okay, so I have 10 pages so far. And let's go over what those 10 pages are. Smaller here. So going just from the back to the front, we've got our work samples. We have our letter of recommendation. Scrolling up here, we have our list of references. We have our job application, the resume, which we'll still do. Our letter of introduction, our table of contents. I have a miscellaneous blank page there. And then our cover page. So what I'm going to do now, I don't know why my table of contents disappeared. Oh, here it is. Okay. So here's something really cool. I'm going to zoom out here, page width. So I have table of contents, and we've added all those pages. Now I'm going to do I think it's insert, and I think it's under quick parts. Other quick parts here. Auto text, document properties, build button. Ah, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to my reference tab along the top here, and then I have table of contents. And look how cool this is. I can scroll through this list here and pick one that I like. So I'm just going to go with this automatic one here. I think that looks kind of cool. Get rid of this part. So look at this, table of contents, and it automatically populated the whole thing for me. So I have my table of contents, which is page 2, letter of introduction on page 4, my resume will be page 5, job application, page 6, references 7, letter of recommendation will be page 9, and then my samples of work will begin on page 10. So again, I just went to the References tab and click Table of Contents.
How many pages is that?
This is 10 pages, but I got a few blank pages in there. So I'll clean those up, and then this we can automatically update.
Do you have the table of contents page 2?
Yes, these are all required elements. So just to reiterate, this is 15% of your grade, which is big, I realize, but I consider this one of the most important aspects of this class. And when you leave this class, this career portfolio is going to be, in my opinion, the most valuable thing you're going to leave with. So having all this stuff all ready for you is going to make getting a job a whole lot easier for you because it'll already be done. And if any of you have gotten a job before, you'll notice, usually when you receive an opportunity, that opportunity is short term in that, hey, I just found out so-and-so's hiring. They're going to hire somebody within a day or two. So you need to be able to quickly jump on stuff when opportunity arises. Okay, so the next, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you today because I want to really give you time to go through and finish up this stuff on your own. But we want to do sample write-ups. So I'm going to go to the very end here. And so here's where you will include some sample work that you've done. So you'll go through the work that we've done in this class and maybe create, print up some of the work that we've done that looks more impressive. So some of our drawings, like the mallet one. You remember that kind of two-dimensional mallet drawing that we did? That was pretty impressive. So kind of start with a couple things that showcase the different one. Remember that kind of mallet, the hammer one that we did?
And the other one, the 3D one? Edgar one?
I was just thinking of the assignment that we all did.
The extra credit one.
Was that one extra credit?
Yeah, I know.
So, just kind of go through our work that we've done in the past and pick some that you feel show off the skills. Keep in mind that the person that you're going to be showing this to may have never even heard of CAD before. So you want to be able to talk intelligently about the software and what it does. Hey, many of you never heard of CAD before you came into this class, probably. So, the reality is you've all learned it is complex software. It's probably one of the most complex pieces of software you've ever used. It's been around a long time, and it's going to impress a potential employer. I mean, if you obviously can learn how to use CAD, you can learn how to use a cash register or other computer software that you need. So it really proves that you can learn new things and complex computer tasks. So let's say we're going to do your render competition. Obviously, your renders are good, but I only want you to use maybe one or two of those because you want to really show the dynamic aspects of the work that you've created. So both two-dimensional drawing as well as 3D drawing and three-dimensional rendering. So say this was the April competition, which I'm just going to call class competition. So this is just our first example.
Put it in.
And then so...
Oh, boy.
No mames.
Someone sounds excited.
No mames. She would.
Huh?
The water flow porque le dan satélite.
¿Qué? Oh,
Hey, look better. Como que está volando en el ocean. Luego se le pusieron unos buildings ahí algo. A verlo, güey.
I don't have it here. I didn't do it myself.
¿Pudiste share? ¿Te mandaste?
To me, pero it wasn't the finish.
No me acuerdo dónde dije.
No, I did finish, but it's not a computer in the house. I'm
No,
the
no,
render.
level one.
Huh?
Did you send it?
I rendered it.
¿Te lo mandaste?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is what I wrote. So the first thing here would be my class competition. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it a little larger here, make it look more like a heading. Why don't I'll even pick one of these. I'm just going to go crazy here. So first is the class competition, and I'm saying in this this work sample was a class competition of the best student to design and render of a three-dimensional object. I received first place for my castle design and render. As you can see, it's a photorealistic look that demonstrates isometric perspective. Key commands used in this project were fillet edge and sky status. I'm very pleased with the quality of this work because it looks of the realistic look of the materials and shadows. I spent a lot of extra time on the walls and the castle in order to get the brick detail just right. So I'm showcasing my attention to detail, I'm showcasing pride of work, I'm showcasing the fact that this was publicly recognized as a top assignment. Yeah, I'm throwing in some of the commands and stuff that I used. So I'm letting people know that this is a complex piece of work, complex piece of software, and this is not something that any person could create. Okay, so I'm looking for this for 3 assignments. So you're going to pick 3 previous assignments and write these up.